I only realized I had already been replaced through a photograph. No one told me the truth. Not a single person bothered to explain anything clearly. He was the one who posted it himself, casually, like it meant absolutely nothing at all. On Instagram, bright daylight, an outdoor lawn framed by a perfect white wedding arch. Rows of white chairs filled with people, all facing forward like witnesses to something official. He stood right in the center, wearing a tailored suit, holding another woman's hand. At that exact moment, I was sitting quietly at our kitchen table at home. Our son sat beside me doing homework, pencil moving, everything calm and perfectly ordinary. Sunlight spilled across the table, soft and warm, like nothing in the world was wrong. Until I noticed the watch on his wrist in the photo he posted, Cartier. Laura's watch, unmistakable. Something I had seen on her too many times before. The caption only had one sentence, short, almost poetic, disturbingly familiar to me. The moon I lost is finally back. I stared at that sentence for a long time, unable to move or look away. Because I had seen those exact words before, written somewhere much more private. Inside Daniel's notebook, the one I always believed contained only business notes and plans. Turns out, it never had anything to do with business at all, not even once. I didn't screenshot it, didn't zoom in, didn't analyze anything further than necessary. I simply turned my phone face down on the table and sat there in silence. I didn't cry in that moment, not even a single tear escaped or threatened to fall. I just suddenly understood something I had been refusing to see this entire time. In this story, in this life we built together, I was no longer present at all. But even earlier than that, I had already heard the answer without realizing it. It was an evening in early April, inside our house in Lincoln Park, Chicago. At the corner of the staircase, hidden just enough to hear without being seen. "Dad, if you married Lavra, what about Mom?" His voice was low, almost whispering, like it wasn't meant for anyone else to hear. But I still heard it clearly, every word landing exactly where it needed to hurt. Daniel let out a soft laugh, casual, almost dismissive, like it was nothing serious. He said it was just a legal marriage, something arranged for family reasons. He told him not to mention it to anyone, like it was just a harmless secret. Then he pulled out a small toy car from his pocket and handed it over. I stood there in the shadows, hand gripping the wooden railing, completely still. It wasn't that I didn't understand what he meant, I understood everything instantly. Before that day, he had just told me to take some time off work. Said things at the company were slowing down, that I deserved a break finally. He told me to go reset, to take time for myself like he cared. He even booked a 7-day trip to Iceland. Everything planned down to details. Flights, hotels, itinerary, all arranged so perfectly it almost felt thoughtful. At the time, I thought he had finally learned how to care about me. Now I understand it was more like he was quietly removing me from this life. I didn't push the door open, didn't confront him, didn't reveal I had heard anything. I turned around and went upstairs, choosing silence instead of immediate destruction. And then I ran into him face to face at the top of the stairs. He was wearing a deep red suit, something he used to say he absolutely hated. He always said red was too flashy, too loud, not his style at all. But recently, his entire wardrobe had slowly shifted into that exact color palette. I never questioned it before, never connected the pattern forming right in front of me. Now it all made sense, because Lavra has always loved red more than anything. He said he was going to try on a tuxedo for a college friend's wedding. I nodded, even offered to drive him there like I always used to do. He refused immediately. Too quickly, the response sharp enough to feel unnatural. Said it was a guy's thing. Something I didn't need to be involved in. Then he leaned down and kissed me, like it was just another routine gesture. The door closed softly behind him, but something inside me shut much louder. That was the moment I knew this home was no longer what it used to be. To everyone outside, we looked perfect, admired in Chicago's startup community circles. They called us a founder couple, building everything from nothing into something real. He handled everything external, decisions, investors, the image people believed in. I stayed behind, cleaning up, executing, fixing every problem quietly in the background. Every crisis was solved because I stood there holding everything together alone. I thought it was our company, something we built together as equals. Later, I realized it never really was, not in the way I believed. That night, our son hugged me tightly, tighter than he ever had before. "Mom, are you leaving?" I didn't answer him directly. I couldn't bring myself to say those words yet. Instead, I asked him a question he should never have had to answer. "If we're not together anymore, who would you stay with?" He froze, eyes filling with tears almost instantly, confusion breaking through first. In that moment, I regretted asking because he was far too young for this. Some questions shouldn't be placed on a child's shoulders, no matter what. For dinner, I made his favorite mac and cheese, added extra cheddar like always. Halfway through eating, he suddenly started crying, unable to hold it in anymore. He said Dad told him it was fake, that Dad still loved me. I didn't explain anything because some truths are useless when someone is that young. That night, I didn't check my phone again, didn't need confirmation anymore. The answer had already been there. Clear, unavoidable, impossible to ignore. The next day, there was a board meeting at the company office. Lavra proposed taking over the product line I had built and managed entirely. Everyone turned to Daniel, waiting for him to reject the suggestion immediately. He nodded instead, calmly agreeing like it had already been decided beforehand. He said I could take leave peacefully, that someone more suitable could handle things. The room was silent, heavy, like the outcome had been finalized long ago. No one looked at me as if I had already left before the meeting even began. I sat there quietly, said nothing, and simply nodded once in response. After the meeting, he followed me out, trying to explain everything carefully. Said it was for the company, that I would have a new role later. I listened, then only said one word in return. Okay. He didn't realize what I meant in that moment when I said it. It wasn't agreement, it wasn't acceptance, it was the end of everything. That night, I started packing my things, quietly, methodically, without hesitation. Our son cried, asking if I could at least stay until his birthday. I told him yes, even though I already knew things wouldn't go that way. That night, Daniel didn't come home at all, not even once. He called once, said the tickets were on the bedside table waiting. Told us to just leave, to fly out without him like it was normal. At the same time, he announced his engagement on LinkedIn publicly. The photo showed a stock transfer agreement, clean, formal, final. Like he was telling the world that position had already been replaced. Our son asked me if Dad wasn't coming back anymore. I said yes, simply, because there was no point softening the truth. He cried harder than I expected, louder than I was prepared for. I took him and left, heading straight to O'Hare Airport without stopping. We boarded the plane and I never looked back at anything behind us. A few days later, he found me outside the company building in Seattle. He said he would fix everything, cut off all ties, undo every mistake. He said he was wrong, that it was just a choice he made. I looked at him, then asked him only one simple question. When something falls to the ground, do you pick it back up? He didn't answer, because he already understood what I meant. I don't love you anymore. He stood there, finally realizing something he couldn't change anymore. It wasn't that he chose the wrong person, not in the way he thought. It was that he had already replaced me in his world long before. And I never chose to put myself back into that place again.